Wait, those are two different questions. Like what
Okay.
inspires
Okay.
me to get to work or what inspires my work?
Let's start. Okay, you're right. Those are two. Okay.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to episode 3 of the Digital Dopamine Podcast. I'm your host, Riley Schmitz, and today I am joined by my good friend, Aaron. Aaron, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself?
Hi, my name is Aaron. I am a junior UX designer studying at State right now. Currently working at Village Ice Cream, unemployed, not unemployed in terms of like no UX work. Um, yeah, I'm looking to freelance after we graduate though. So
Perfect.
yeah.
That's a good plan. Okay, well let's dive right into things. What inspired you to pursue a career in design?
So originally I wanted to go into computer science, like software development.
Oh, you're smart like that? I couldn't tell.
No, that's why I got into design actually, right? Because yeah, I wasn't good at like mathematics, wasn't really into like studying like all three sciences in like high school in order to pursue like software development. So I kind of just like took a different route. I took a gap year, decided like what I wanted to do, and I fell into like UX. And I found out that you don't actually have to code stuff, right? So yeah, I kind of applied myself there, and yeah, it's been like that ever since. I just like really enjoy designing as well, and I thought it'd just be an easier route to go into.
Sweet.
Yeah.
What made you think computer science in the first place? Where that passion coming from?
Well, ever since I was young, I was always into like computers, and you know, like always gaming and stuff. My parents kind of just like put me into that route, and I don't know if it was like my own decision. I kind of just like was heavily influenced by them to where I was like, okay, I'm into computers. It kind of makes sense for me to go into computer science. I knew it was going to be like a hot commodity later on, just because of how like the world was like developing more into the internet space. So I was like, yeah, sure, why not? I'll give it a try, see if it works. If it doesn't, then I'll probably just like pivot into something else.
And then you did. And then you pivoted.
Yeah,
And now
because
here you
I
are.
wasn't smart enough. I was too stupid.
Oh, shocker. So were you ever kind of artsy, I guess, as a child, or are you finding it easier to be on the more critical thinking side of things?
I think as a child, I was. It's kind of like it's like a blend between both of them, just because I was very artsy and creative, but I did like a little bit of structure to my things. Because I'm gonna relate it like back to video games. I felt like I had my own form of control, especially with like playing like say like Minecraft. No, you had your own creative output, but there were boundaries to that.
Right.
Yeah. As a child, I didn't really like painting. I kind of see this is like what also fell into why I fell in love with like computers and like computer science and just UX in general is because everything was like digitalized, right? And I didn't have to use like my own freaking like fingers, like hands to make stuff out of art because I'm not good at drawing. I'm not good at like painting. I kind of work better with digital stuff like Photoshop and like maybe not Illustrator, but just like Photoshop, Premiere, and other things. And that's kind of like how I would rather express myself.
Cool. That's very interesting. How do you think your approach to UX design in general has evolved since our first UX class?
Since our first UX class, I think I'm more methodical with what I'm designing now, just because of I know like Brie has said this a lot of times, and like other people have said this. You are not the user, and I think that's like very critical in knowing in terms of like UX, just because yeah, you are not the user, and you have to design for other people, and you have to account for like other people's like process of thinking and how they're going to, I guess, go into like whatever you're making. So like if you're making like an application or something, how they're going to go from point A to point B,
Right.
you know? So I think it's yeah, more of like a methodical thinking, designing with intent as well. Just like not really designing for like, oh, will this look pretty? Will this look aesthetic at the end? But like also is as functional.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So given that you're very more on the methodical side of thinking, how do you usually work through a process when you're starting a project?
I find it very interesting because we haven't done it a lot, but I do like doing research. I like getting into like people's heads and like the psychological aspect of it, to where how does this person act? What do they do? How will they do this, I guess, like task? And if you can like pinpoint those certain things, it'll make it a lot easier to design things. And especially since most of the research, most of like the research that like has been done is right in front of you. You can look it up on the internet and you can see like, oh, Apple did, I don't know, this like study group back in like maybe like 2010, to where they researched a bunch of these people and see how they acted in these certain ways and how they reacted to like their own product. And you can take that research and you can put it into your own work.
Cool.
Yeah.
Did you always love research, or is that kind of like a newfound?
No, bro, I fucking hated research. Bro, I still hate research, but I just find it interesting in like a psychological
Cool.
way of thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's how you know you're on the right path. You're finding research interesting.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay, so Aaron, you have ADHD.
Yeah.
It's pretty obvious.
Recently diagnosed. Recently.
How do you stay on task when you're working and keep the progress flowing?
How do I stay on task? I think it's like extremely hard to stay on task. I'm not gonna lie. I think I have to like give credit to like everybody in our class, like especially our friends, just because they are the ones with like the better organizational skills and like pre-planning. I'm still trying to work on like planning things. I'm not very good at it, but that's a skill I do want to develop. But like Chris, Tina, they help me stay on track because they're so good at organization, because they use like Google Calendar, Apple Calendar. I think Chris uses like Monday or something like that. He's great with it, and I kind of just like follow their lead and see what they do, and I'm trying to apply it to my life, to where I'm like, okay, so they use these resources. How do they use it effectively? I kind of like, like low-key trying to copy them, but like without having to like ask them to teach me all of these things. But like I'm like, okay, so if Chris time blocks all this stuff, I'm gonna try time blocking.
Right.
And if that works for me, then great. But if it doesn't work for me, then I'll try a different way. So it's
Right.
kind of like experimenting with things, I would say. I think the issue is that somebody with like ADHD, I think the hardest part is starting. And
That's fair.
even if you have these tasks, for me personally, I think I need like a deadline to something in order to start it, or I need
Okay.
something like for like appointments and stuff. I just need somebody to be like, this is mandatory. You have to be here at the certain time, or you're kind of like letting somebody down.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So one of those like gamified apps with a little pet to keep alive might help.
No, I'd kill that pet. That pet's fucking dead. That pet is dead.
Fair enough. Okay.
Dude, like Tamagotchi, nah. That pet is dead.
Do you have any pets at home?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, that's concerning.
But there's a difference between like a digital pet and like a real pet,
That's
right?
true. That's true. It's not living and breathing if it's
Yeah.
digital. Yeah.
Exactly. You can kill the pet as many times as you want. It keeps coming back.
Okay. Moving on. Do you ever struggle with creative block or anything that prohibits your work further?
Dude, like all the time. Yeah. I think, okay, so creative block is a big issue for me, just because starting something, yeah, it's hard, but once you get started something with ADHD, you can hyperfixate for a fucking long time, like hours. But once you stop for like a second, if you're taking a short break, it's really hard to get back into it. I'm not sure why. I think have you ever like I think it's called like the flow?
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah. Once you're in that flow, like research shows that you're working 1,000 times more efficient, and your brain is working like 100,000 times, no, 1,000 times more. But once you get out of that, it's a lot harder to get back into it, and then you're constantly overthinking about like what you're doing, um, which is why I kind of whenever I start projects, it's very hard for me to finish them. I've started like so many projects like video editing. Um, I tried making like a game once, something like that. I tried making like websites. I've always started it and I've always like gone like halfway, but it's very hard for me to finish just because I'm a perfectionist myself. And what I like find is that if this isn't good enough, I'm not really sure how to make it up to my expectations just because I don't have the experience
Right.
to know what is best.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Now, are there ways that you I guess, have a system for getting into that flow state when you need to?
I think just like diving straight into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I find it very easy to get into the flow state actually. Um, there's like different ways you could actually do to get into the flow state. Um, what's the word? Like I forget the word, but yeah, there's like different ways you can actually do to get into the flow state intentionally. Um, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. To be
Okay.
honest, yeah.
No, that's fair. Yeah. It's okay.
So fun fact.
Okay. Burnout.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a topic.
Yeah, it is a topic. Yeah.
When you get burnt out, do you have any, I guess, methods that help you recharge?
I think taking a break from whatever you're doing for a while definitely helps with burnout. So like I wouldn't say like, oh, take a break for like half an hour. I would say take a break for like a couple days, recharge then. Because burnout happens to everybody. And obviously everybody has their different ways of doing it. And my way of doing it is just taking a break, doing something else, maybe starting a different project, and then coming back to that project. And whatever you did in the new project, you can actually apply to your old project with like new ideas.
Right.
Or even going on like Pinterest, YouTube, and looking up how other people apply their knowledge to a similar project like yours is a very good way with like dealing with burnout.
Word.
Yeah.
Okay. Working and going to school and also trying to maintain a personal life and keep your friendships alive.
Yeah.
How do you manage all that?
I see that you didn't add in relationships.
Well, way to expose yourself.
I think for me it's easy to manage like work and school just because I don't work a lot.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you're lazy.
Yeah, I mean you could say that. Yeah, just been giving my shifts away. It's like I'm too rich.
Okay,
So,
sure.
Yeah. But like I don't know. I find that my social battery as of recently has not been like drained
Oh, interesting.
easily. Yeah. So I think that just has to do with like the people I'm hanging out with, right? I just enjoy. I'm a very social person, and sometimes, yeah, if like I'm hanging out with like the wrong people, my social battery will be drained a lot. But as of recently, no, I've been like managing it pretty well. I think the only thing I could probably touch up on is just getting shit done early and not
Right.
procrastinating, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just because then that puts strain on my relationships and like work because I'm doing everything fucking last minute.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
That makes sense, especially in group projects and everything.
Yeah.
That's hard to stay on top of. I understand.
No, 100%. Like having like 5 group projects due
With different groups.
it's fucking draining.
Yeah.
But I'm just like so grateful that like I'm working in like with the same people for
Right.
all those projects, so it makes things a lot easier, and especially since we're all like friends, it's less stressful just because we know each other personally and we understand each other's like faults and like weaknesses and strengths, so
Yeah.
we can work based off of those.
Absolutely. And a couple weeks ago, we were talking with Bree on the show, and she mentioned that when you guys work in group projects together, since you're all in the user experience stream, you each kind of fall into a specific role every
Mhm.
time a new project comes up, just because you've done that before and you're good at it. What is usually your role?
Bro. My role, that's a stumper right there. No, it's not.
You're just there.
I'm just fucking existing. No, I usually get put into the role of just like, I guess, designing wireframes and using Figma most of the time, just because I'm not well versed with like graphic design or like um copywriting.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, so I think my strengths play into using Figma and the tools and knowing like industry standards for like applications. Yeah,
Word. Okay.
yeah. Especially like accessibility, other things, knowing like contrast between colors, um, negative space. Worked a lot with that. Yeah. Yeah, I would just say like working with Figma,
Sweet.
making wireframes, high fidelities. Yeah.
Awesome. Would you say that's your favorite part of the process?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I would not, dude. Fuck like graphic designing, fuck body, like copywriting, all of that. No,
Okay.
I genuinely just enjoy like dragging little shapes around and creating whatever the fuck I want.
As you should.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's so good. Okay, onto the topic of inspiration.
Mhm.
Who or what inspires your work the most? Or inspires you to work, I guess.
Inspires me to get to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything that like really, really gets you going, really motivates you?
Wait, those are two different questions.
Okay, let's start with what inspires your work.
I would say a lot of applications that are like that have clean interfaces and are very intuitive. So I try to go for something that isn't too in your face, but is like very simplistic to use. So a lot of the time I like to look back at like Simple's app because it's very intuitive and they teach the users as they go along the process. I'm trying to think of like another app. I would say I was gonna say like Nike's like app as well. That's also very intuitive, but they do have like accessibility flaws. So it's very easy to look into apps and see what they're doing right. But if you can pinpoint like what they're also doing wrong, you can learn a lot from that as well.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's a very neat process. Do you do a lot of research on other apps, or is it just like kind of what you download, what you use, and you learn from that?
I think it's what I download and use.
That's cool.
I don't do like a lot of research. I kind of just, I mean, you could say I do research while I'm using the application.
True.
And seeing like, oh, how do they put like the back button, or where do they put the back button? Like, how do they design this and that? But no, I don't do like research in my free time.
That's fair. Research is painful. Okay. So next part of this question that was supposed to be one question, what inspires you to get to work? I guess most motivation, you could call that.
Honestly, what inspires me to get to work? Bro, hoping that I'm not homeless in like 5 years. Like knowing that
That's fair.
10 years from now, my older self is relying on my younger self right now to get a good job, especially how like the fucking economy is right now. Everything's so fucking expensive. So it's like just getting a well-paying job and knowing that I have to work really hard in order to have the future that I want.
Right.
Yeah.
Sweet. And speaking of the future you want, what is that? What does that look like?
Yeah, no, I definitely do want to get, well, okay, so like my 5-year plan kind of is get rich. No.
Word, me too.
Yeah. But starting like working at a startup for a couple of years and then moving on to like a junior role as a UX designer, and honestly just like I'm kind of going with the flow right now, but I know that I want to move up in the ladder, so not staying at a job for way too long, and then possibly moving to like different cities, seeing where like job opportunities take me.
Cool.
Yeah.
Are there any cities on your bucket list that you want to live in?
Yeah, Seattle.
Nice.
Because
Interesting.
Yeah, like a big tech giant has a bunch of like offices there with like the Fortune 500. So
Right.
definitely want to get a job there.
Sweet. That's awesome. Okay. Trends.
Okay.
Yeah.
Am I a trendsetter? Or
Are you a trendsetter?
yeah, I think so.
I agree.
Okay.
100%. But trends in the design world. I mean, what are your thoughts on current things that are trending? Do you think anything's gonna last?
I honestly, okay, so I don't really keep up with the trends, but one thing that I can point out is how a lot of the logos have gone from being super detailed oriented to like simplistic.
Do you have any like favorites or least favorites?
Um that's a really hard question.
Okay.
It's a very difficult question, but this thing on? Is this thing working? Well, like in terms of like logos, I know that Bree mentioned the Jaguar logo. Yeah, that is terrible.
Yeah.
I think it was very terrible, and I think companies are trying way too hard to please everybody instead of their like target demographic, which is not good because you spread yourself too thin, then you're not going to please anybody. You
Yeah.
make everybody unhappy. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so you mentioned earlier that you want to freelance after grad.
Yeah.
What does your brand look like? How are you going to sell yourself?
I haven't thought of it that well. I'm kind of working on my brand identity as like we go along, but I know for sure that I do want to work with like local companies. So like within Calgary. So I've actually had my eyes set on this one like theater company. It's called Candy Meadows Cinema, and it's like this family owned company. Their website absolutely horrendous.
Oh, right. I
Um,
think you showed it to me.
Yeah, I think so too. But I do think they needed like a website overhaul. But usually what I design is for like simplicity and like making everything intuitive. So when I do approach them, I obviously want to keep their charm of like a family owned, just because they have that old aesthetic of like we're run down, we cater to the locals and the community, and I don't want to take that away to where it's like we're a competitor to like Cineplex, you know what I
Right.
mean? Yeah,
Yeah,
because that's obviously not what they're going for.
absolutely. I
Yeah.
definitely understand that. I'm working on a web redesign right now for Airdrie Walk.
Yeah.
So there's a Chinese food restaurant in Airdrie. They're also same thing. Like they want to keep it very simple, very welcoming
Yeah.
because they are a family-run business. So yeah, finding the balance is
It's difficult,
it's a fun task though.
but I gotta
yeah.
approach them first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Get a pitch?
Yeah, I have to pitch. I have to work on my portfolio. I'm not really sure how to sell myself on my portfolio yet. Obviously, I need to make it very easily like readable, but I don't want to make it so I'm just amongst like the common crowd.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to stick out somehow, but I haven't really thought of it that way.
Okay.
Like thought of anything that can help me stick out. So
Word.
still working on it.
You just have to translate your personality into the website.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. That comes with like a lot of like time and experimenting.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
All right. What has been the biggest challenge you think you've faced so far as a designer?
I think for me, I need to know what is best like industry practices.
Okay.
So like when designing like say a website, because I know in one of our classes we designed Jason Sticker Club.
Yes.
I'm not sure like what is best practice for a lot of like how it should look, how it should feel, the layout of everything, and just knowing like what employers seek out when they do look at that. If you were to add it onto like your portfolio or something like that, how would people or employers look at that and view it and be like, oh, this is what we're looking for, or this is absolute like horrendous, like terrible, you need to fix everything.
Right.
I don't think we've ever really like learned that, or like nobody has really taken us on like a deep dive on how to, I don't know, navigate through that.
Right. Okay, are there any skills that you wish were taught more in your program?
You
know I was gonna ask
oh, okay. Yeah, no. Like I said, industry standards I think is probably like number one priority. Accessibility. A lot of like we could have taken. I wish there was like another class on accessibility. Or yeah, on accessibility that takes a deep dive into it and like teaches us all the like kinks and like stuff like that about it. I feel like hot take, but I feel like we're very fluent in Figma, and Figma is like the primary tool that a lot of us as UX designers will use in the industry. So I think we're very fluent on that. But knowing, I don't really know how to explain it. Wait, give me a sec. Give me,
Okay,
let me
take your
click something.
time.
Let me click
Yeah.
something up. I feel like with like other Adobe products, we don't know how to use those as well, even though we spent like a semester on them. It's very hard to use like Adobe products now just because we've spent a semester on Adobe products and we spent the second semester on Figma, and now we haven't touched Adobe products in like semester like 3. And I'm assuming that we're gonna go back on Adobe products now. You know what I mean? So
Right.
which there was like a balance to all of it, you know?
Yeah.
It's just so our skills don't get rusty.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. Cool. And what advice would you give to someone who's just starting out in interactive design at SAIT?
Start portfolio early.
Word.
Yeah, start it early. Learn how to do case studies, because that's also one thing that I wish we touched upon, case studies. Because right now I am motivating myself to do a portfolio, but I'm not sure how to go upon making my case study for the projects that I have worked on. Yeah, if you start early and then learn as you go, that'll make it a lot easier just because you're taking it one step at a time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you go about building connections with people who you could consider mentors?
How do I think like people I consider mentors, I mean it would be you guys, honestly.
Huh?
Yeah. I think we can learn a lot off of each other, and especially since we're in like the same fucking boat.
It is a fucking boat.
Yeah, taking ideas off of each other and just learning as we go, and like especially like failing is like so important just because it teaches you so much. It teaches you like a crazy amount. So not being able to like be afraid of like failing, but yeah, just like developing those relationships is super important. And I think our friend group has like a very good network, and we're also smart and hardworking, that it developed naturally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So like
absolutely.
I guess having that genuine personality towards that person and not wanting something like a parasitic relationship is obviously not good, and like not befriending them just to get something out of them is very important. Yeah, just balancing. I'd say yeah.
Yeah. Word. I agree. And on the topic of failure, I guess how do you go about handling criticism and feedback that you don't necessarily want to hear?
I don't think I struggle with that. I think
That's good.
I love criticism. I like when people are straightforward with me and telling me like you fucked up on this, just so I can be better, because I don't like wasting time, especially when it comes to trying to improve my work and myself.
Right.
Yeah. I'm very straightforward and open about like feedback.
That's good. This should be a fun one. How do you see the role of UX designers kind of changing in the next 5 to 10 years? Because I think it's becoming a lot more prominent.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think now that we're moving towards more of like user-centered design, I think a lot more companies, not even in tech, but a lot more companies will start hiring UX designers to do like more physical products other than digitalized products. I think the use of like AI is super important, but I know that like everybody talks about like how AI will take over the tech industry,
And
something
it's
like that.
so annoying.
But one thing that AI can't do is connect with like human emotions. And that's kind of like what UX designers are hired to do, is kind of take the psychological aspect of humans and put it into work and how we navigate through things and work with things. So yeah, I don't see it changing a lot in like 5-10 years. Maybe just like more jobs will be opened, hopefully, fingers crossed, hire me. But yeah, no, I think it's in a good place right now to where it'll stagnate for a while and then just kind of fluctuate up and down.
Cool.
Yeah, depending on the market.
Yeah. And you were mentioning that you want to get into YouTube. And I get into vlogging. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, what's to talk about it?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Tell us your plan.
Yeah, so I'm heavily influenced by this one YouTuber. Her name is like Life Ariza. She makes like cinematic vlogs.
Yes, I follow her.
Yeah, you follow her? Yeah. Yeah, no, she's amazing. I've been like inspired by her to kind of create like my own cinematic universe to where I show the people like what I'm doing in my day-to-day life, but the one issue that I found is that my life is just not interesting.
I was gonna say, do you think your life is
Yeah, no,
interesting?
my life is just not interesting. Like, you know, most of my day is
kidding,
just
that's
fucking
mean.
rotting. No, it's not. It's just rotting. So
Yeah.
but one of her like quotes is that she's finding the spark out of like mundane things, which is super cool because as like she's a creative and I'm an aspiring creative.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's a creative and she does so well in making mundane things work in like YouTube videos and adding her own special like effect to that where she has like different angle shots and like different like cinematic shots and b-roll, and it's like it's crazy to me that she can make it work and make everything so interesting. Yeah, but
Cool.
that's kind of like where I want to take my YouTube channel to where I want to take it. But yeah.
Awesome. Okay, well, you get that set up. You have
hopefully
you have 4 weeks from this recording date to get that set up so I can link your channel.
for you 4 weeks.
4 weeks.
Fuck, bro, 4 weeks. Okay, sure.
Yeah. Okay, follow Aaron's channel, subscribe to Aaron's channel right up here. You'll see the link coming up. Click that subscribe button. Show Aaron some support.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he's just a chill guy, for real.
Next question.
Next question.
Next question. Sure.
Okay. Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, I'll ask you the question.
Okay.
On the process of.
Okay. Sure.
Okay. Yeah. On the process of staying within the creative process, how do you manage? What?
You said on the process of again.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, I was like copying your answer.
Okay.
Or whatever. How do you manage finishing a project without having it be a chore?
That's the question. There you go.
Yeah.
That's actually a really hard question because
No cop-out answers.
no cop-out answers. No. Honestly, I kind of, since I was a very creative child, a very creative teenager, ever since I started work, I've been looking for ways to bring my creativity and my love for design and art of all kinds into my jobs. So it's kind of like I know how to make it fun for myself.
Okay.
So even when I was working at Levi's, I was always finding little projects to do. I was like, oh, can I make a poster for this event? And then it got to the point where I was being asked to make posters for events. And so that was really cool. And that's kind of how I kept myself loving that job for as long as I did.
Yeah. What is Levi's again?
Levi's sells the best denim that you'll ever find. Please shop all your denim from Levi's because they're so good.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored by 501s. Anyways, so it's kind of the same thing now, even when I'm working on a really monotonous task. Like I have to make a document, but I think, oh, I get to make it look nice. I get to make it pretty. I get to make it in my brand colors and all of that. So it's just kind of the promise of being able to do something creative, even with the monotonous of the tasks. That helps me stay motivated through that, you know?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Same answer. No,
You cannot get the same answer. That's a cop-out.
That's not, I'm not copping out. I don't know. Whenever I'm like, for like video editing, for example, just knowing that I'm putting like all of my hard work into that one project, and losing that passion will eventually happen, but staying motivated is kind of like what makes it not a chore. I don't know if that makes any sense, but does it?
What aspect of it motivates you though?
Just like getting it done and finished and having that relief, like that sweet relief, and knowing that like I finished something from start to finish. And yeah, it could have been like really hard to do, but at least I finished it.
Right.
For me, I don't have a way to make something not feel like a chore. I feel like once I'm forced to do something, it will always feel like a chore. But having the mindset of like I have to finish this is a very, I don't want to say motivated yet, but like very like, sure, I'll say motivated. Like a very motivating way to finish that project.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So like kind of the end result.
Yeah, the
That's
end
what
result.
gets you
Yeah.
through.
Because then you get to look back on your work and you're like, damn, I put a lot of effort into this,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm really proud of what I've done.
That's good. Are you proud of most things that you do?
Let's say like half and half.
Okay.
So like 75-25.
All right. On the topic of being proud of things you've done, what's your favorite project you've ever done?
It has to be either. They're very close together, but my project in Portugal. So I created like an allergy app using NFC card readers, or the Discord app, which we did a lot of research on, and it was kind of fixing Discord's issue with like organization when it comes to like direct messaging.
That's cool.
I would teeter towards more of like the allergy app, just because from start to finish, that's what I was doing. That's what I was doing. Like, it was like fucking like 9 hours a day, 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
And in a sense, it was kind of like your baby, and you were nurturing that baby, and you're watching it like grow. And especially since like I got like top 10 at Portugal, it felt like all of my hard work paid off.
Right.
In a sense, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was probably just like one of my more favorite projects and like most memorable.
Sweet. That's good. Shout out EIA, European Innovation Academy, for boosting Aaron's confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just come up with like a lot of good ideas. I don't know.
Yeah, you're just that guy. What are your goals for the new year? Did you make a vision board or anything?
No, I don't do vision boards.
Okay, can you expand on that?
Yeah, no, I can't. I can definitely explain on that.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't do vision boards. I don't do really like mood boards or anything. I create like fucking like files in my own head. I kind of organize what I want to do and what I want to accomplish during the new year. So like currently, I want to become more punctual with like arrivals and deadlines and all of that. I definitely want to work on like current and future relationships. Superstitious, but like I ate my 12 grapes underneath the table.
Me too.
Yeah. 12 grapes underneath the table. I opened up a Christmas cracker, got a little like heart keychain. So I was like, oh, it's gonna be a good year. Yeah. I obviously want to get into the industry, so landing a job in UX, that's my number one priority actually.
Aaron's looking for work. Anyone hiring in UX? Hit my guy's line, please.
Yeah. But yeah, that's honestly all I have. I don't want to have anything that's too over the top, just in case I don't achieve it.
Interesting.
Because it usually happens with a lot of people.
Yeah, and then it's kind of paired with disappointment, I guess.
Yeah, and then it's like fake promises to yourself.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
All about setting reasonable expectations.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. If you could redesign any application or website aside from the cinema one that we talked about earlier,
Fuck.
I
Aside
knew
from
that was gonna be your
fuck,
answer.
man,
Yeah. What would it be?
fuck.
If having to sell yourself to this company was no object, like you didn't have to.
Like if I could just work there for free or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
just like instantly get
Yeah.
hired. Yeah. I'd probably work on like something in the gaming industry, honestly. Something in the esports industry. Maybe broadcasting for esports, like fixing the UI for when they do broadcast, or just like games in general. So the UI of games and how it feels and looks, and if it feels good to the users. For example, like Marvel Rivals, Overwatch, and I would say League of Legends, but like nobody really likes League of Legends. So.
Nobody really likes League of Legends?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. League of Legends super
Yeah.
fan.
Maybe like Valorant as well. Yeah, anything in the gaming industry, because that's
Okay.
kind of like where most of my passion is directed towards.
Cool. Very
Yeah.
interesting. Was there ever a time that you considered actually going into game design?
Yeah. When I was gonna become a software,
Right. Yeah.
software engineer.
checks
Yeah, and
out.
then I was just stupid. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was plan number one actually.
Hmm.
This is plan B.
This is plan B. Okay, I hope this one works out for you, pal. Oh, what's the weirdest or most unexpected source of inspiration you've ever had?
Well, okay, I don't really have like one of the weirdest inspirations, but I know that back in high school when I was first getting into like the Adobe Suite, I designed this entire website catered towards teaching people how to play Overwatch correctly. Yeah, so
Interesting.
I was
That's
a huge
really
super
cool.
fan, and I went into like a deep dive, hyper fixated for like weeks on that, and that just came out of like the passion and love for the game, and I finished it, and it was
Sweet.
it was fun, but looking back at it now, it's really cringe. Yeah, so
Yeah. I mean, of course, that means you've made progress.
made
You've
progress.
grown.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good.
But, yeah.
Okay. If you had unlimited time and resources and money was no object.
Me right now. So me right now.
yeah. Currently, in your current state.
Yeah. Okay. Me right now.
What passion project would you create? If you could create
Um,
anything. You knew everything and you could do whatever you wanted to.
a new form of social media app.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What would be, like, what's the UVP?
I don't know. I would try to make it cater towards users and having, because a lot of social media apps ride off of like popularity of like other influencers,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe turning that upside down to where I'm fucking explaining TikTok. I'm fucking explaining TikTok.
So you're going to create TikTok.
Yeah, I'm gonna recreate TikTok.
Wow, okay. You heard it here first, folks. Aaron's making the next TikTok.
Yeah, for when TikTok gets banned in United States. and
Oh,
Canada.
nice. Yeah, that'll be good profit, actually.
Yeah, no, actually. Yeah.
Ah.
I was actually thinking about it. If you want an actual answer,
Mhm.
it's not gonna be like a new thing, but I do want to, for Instagram Reels and TikTok, you know how people send you like multiple reels and then you get overwhelmed
Yep.
by a lot of it. Nobody stole my idea, by the way. I want to insert all of those reels and like TikToks that people send you into your feed automatically, so it doesn't feel overwhelming, because I find that the issue is for many people, they don't want to go through multiple clicks to get to the DMs of that person who sent you the reels. So if you were to have it
Mhm.
automatically in your feed, and as you're like sliding through the fucking reels, one of the TikToks pops up and it's like, your friend shared you this, you'll look at it for a while and you can like it, blah 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 blah, and then just like keep swiping.
Yeah, I really like that idea.
Yeah.
That's super cool. Because my mom sends me like 70 Instagram reels a day. And I adore that woman, but oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I don't have time for that shit.
Yeah, and and sometimes you're already like dead scrolling.
Yeah, exactly.
So if like those pop up on your feed automatically, you don't have to do the extra work of clicking through multiple
Yeah,
inputs.
that would be so amazing. What do you think of, like, on the explore page, having, I guess it would be different for TikTok because you just, like, you just scrolling regardless. You don't
Mhm.
have the option to select what you're looking at. But on the explore page on Instagram, it's got that layout with the posts and then the reels
Huh.
occasionally. What if the headline for those, like each set of reels, had a headline that was like from mom or from Aaron, and you could select that and just scroll through them? instead of having to click on and off on the chat feed? Do you think that would be beneficial, or would it be confusing?
I feel like it's the same issue with like going through the DMs.
Okay.
But it just removes one click
Right.
instead of like 3. I think TikTok already has like that feature where you can go onto the friends tab and you can scroll through like whatever your friends posted. Maybe implementing that into like a singular tab on Instagram where it's like friends tab and then it's like all the reels that your friends sent you.
Cool. Yeah.
But still, I feel like that in itself is not a feature that a lot of people utilize on TikTok.
That's true.
Anyways, yeah. I don't find myself or like many other people using the friends tab.
Right.
Yeah.
That would be interesting though.
But I just think like integrating it seamlessly is the best option.
Okay, that one I already know the answer to.
What?
It's gaming. What's one non-design related hobby or interest that influences your work?
Yeah, I think gaming's a big part of it. Also, music.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, music heavily influences like how people react and how they control their emotions. So, especially if you are listening to something that is like, say, like piano music, how would you visualize piano music in an application? Because it also goes along with like brand identity as well.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
I've never thought of that.
And like rock and roll music, you visualize like grunge, and you visualize like different things with fucking music. So if you listen to music before you start creating, it can give you like kind of like a head start on where you want to take your passion project, whatever project you're using.
That's so fucking cool. So when you're making user personas, do
Yeah.
you often include what kind of music they listen to?
When I'm making user personas, I base my user personas off of like movie characters.
Interesting.
Yeah. I find that it's a lot easier than like creating somebody from the ground up. But if you were to create a movie character that has all these traits, because people who create movies have done the same thing, created like characters with traits and like backgrounds. So you just take that and you just like input it into user personas. But for using like music, you just do that with like apps and stuff like that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, that's so neat. Interesting answer. I thought you were just gonna say
Like a
video
fucking
games.
like a combat answer. No, bro.
Sometimes, I just look at you and I see the picture of a nerd.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Like the nerd emoji.
Yeah, no, I know the nerd emoji.
Yeah.
Yeah. Copy that. Like, comment that. Okay, thanks.
Yeah. You're welcome. Okay, what's the most unexpected thing that you've learned since starting your user experience studies?
Unexpected thing that I've learned?
Yeah.
Dude, I feel like all of it's expected because I did a certificate. I did the Google UX certificate, so I kind of expect
interesting.
like a lot of it. I think the most unexpected thing that I've learned is just like how to put myself out there and like how to network myself and like brand myself to other people. And then that comes with like a lot of it goes to you guys and like helping me get out of that shell to where I can like be myself and like help improve myself and grow myself into like the person I want to be.
Yeah.
I didn't expect this much growth going into the UX stream.
Really?
Yeah, like personal growth. Yeah, I didn't expect that.
Interesting. That's good. I'm glad you are feeling a sense of
I thought it was like
personal
get in,
growth.
get out.
Survival mode.
Get in, get the fuck out.
Oh man. So on the topic of your personal brand then,
Yeah.
how would you define that?
I feel like I'm very easygoing person, very quirky. So yeah. Yeah, no, I'm very quirky. I feel like I'm a person who can be easily talked to, and I'm a good listener. So for personal branding, I would say like something that's minimalistic, simplistic, and straightforward. So if you were to put that on like a fucking website, it'd kind of be like that. I would say
Sweet.
like Apple.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, like Apple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Cool. Okay, moving into kind of rapid fire questions. They don't have to be rapid fire. We can expand on them if you like. What's your favorite font or typeface?
I have that answer on lockdown actually.
Because you've been staring at it.
No, because I've thought of it for like the last day. I'm like, yeah. I'm gonna roll these freaking rapid fire questions.
You memorized the rapid fire questions.
I remember like one. This is the only one.
Okay.
My favorite font face is Bebis.
Oh, nice.
Like right here.
Yeah, right here.
Do I have to expand?
Just go ahead.
It's very bold. It's very clean. It's not like a serif font, but you can put it on basically like anything.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah. Or soap. Soap is a really good typeface as well.
Hmm.
Very elegant.
Yeah.
I see a lot of like TikTok influencers use it, so I guess it's becoming like overused in a sense, but it's still a good all rounder if you're trying to create something like very cinematic and aesthetic. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, and favorite color combo?
Gold and like sage green.
Ooh, pretty.
Yeah.
That's nice. Where does that come from?
I'm thinking like it came from like Kate Spade. I think Kate Spade kind of does
cool.
that like color combination as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I really enjoy the color green. I've been growing into it more and more. And the color gold is just very vibrant, very elegant, very classy. I think those two pair well together, especially since I'm thinking about like cinematic shots you could do with it as well. A lot of people love greenery. You can add green onto anything to make it more elevated and aesthetic, especially in like dull scenarios. It's just a very pop out color, especially with gold.
Okay, final question.
No, yes, final go. Yeah,
Bitch.
yes.
What is your go-to beverage while working?
Let's say it's soda.
What's your favorite soda?
I would say Coca-Cola. Yeah, cherry Coke is really good.
Ooh.
Cherry Coke, yeah.
You seem like a Lana Del Rey cherry Coke girly.
Oh, dude, I do not like Lana Del Rey's music. You get soda or like I don't really drink coffee or tea.
Interesting.
Maybe just water. Very bland, very boring.
Healthy.
Very healthy. Yeah.
Very healthy.
Yeah, water. Safe option.
Safe option, of
Yeah.
course. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today,
Yeah,
Aaron.
thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh,
Oh my
so
God.
exciting. Reminder to subscribe to Aaron's YouTube channel.
There's gonna be one subscriber on it.
It'll be me.
Are you gonna do your outro?
I'm gonna do my outro.
Your killer outro.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's enough dopamine for the day. Thanks so much, Aaron, for being on the show and giving me that tagline.
Yep.
I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and find us on Instagram at digitaldopamine.podcast. Also follow my personal Instagram at Riley Melina Schmitz. And Aaron, plug your socials.
Aaron.Nicor on Instagram. Yeah. That's it.
Wonderful. Aaron's LinkedIn will also be linked in the bio if you'd like to hire him for any particular reason. I know he's fantastic at what he does, so
Personality hire.
yes, absolutely personality hire. Anyways, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.